Have you ever wanted to plant more fruits and vegetables into your garden, but you just worry you don't have enough space? I'm Melissa from Rooted Home and Garden, and I'm here to try to convince you that you can have an edible garden too. I've lived in this home for 16 years and it's gone through a ton of transformation over the years. As I became a mom, growing my own fruits and vegetables have become my top priority in my family. So I found lots of different ways to actually grow fruits and vegetables in my yard. So not only are we getting more nutrients in our yard, but also I know exactly what's going into their little bodies. Let's start with fruit trees. I actually have 19 fruit trees in my yard. Yes, 19. That is a ton. And I just live in a regular sized lot. I do not live in the country. I live in town. How is this possible? I have squeezed them into every nook and cranny in my yard, and fruit trees are so versatile, it will blow your mind. You can shape fruit trees as large as you want them, as small as you want them. You can grow them as a tiny little fence. You can grow them flat against the house, which is what I've done with most of my fruit trees. So let's take this tree for example. This is a plum tree. It is about 8 inches away from the house, but it is growing flat against the house to add more fruit to my yard, but not take much space. Anytime I get branches that come straight forward like this one, I will be removing it so it just grows flat. Now you can actually take the branches and lay them down. You can have them grow into a fan. That is called espalier. You can even grow your fruit trees where it's one single stem and you cut everything else off and the fruit will go right against the stem. I have an apple tree right here. I do the same exact thing. Have it planted about 6 feet away from the house and just letting it grow. As you can see, I did add wire to the house recently and I haven't finished working on that, but my goal is actually I'm going to chop it down all the way to the ground and I'm going to start training the tree to grow in a vertical direction, and that will just add more dimension to this space. So I have an apple tree, a plum tree, a cherry tree, an apricot tree. This beautiful thing obviously is not espaliered, but I love this shape so much. It looks so beautiful, and I purposefully trained it to look like a Japanese maple. That is the style I wanted. That is the look I wanted, and it absolutely does it for me. I love this tree. I've had this tree for about, I don't know, I'd say about 12 years now, maybe more than that at this moment. Plum tree, peach tree, orange tree, orange tree, orange tree, nectarine tree, nectarine tree, fig tree, peach tree, nectarine tree, apple tree, pomegranate tree, orange tree, lemon tree. Now the first thing you should do if you're going to start planning what to plant in my yard to make it so I have more fruits and vegetables, start with what you like. Make a list. What are the things that you would eat on a regular basis if you had it? For my family, it's berries, it's artichokes, and it's fruit from a fruit tree. So if you notice, as I was listing the fruit trees, I said plums a couple of times. I said peaches a few times. I said oranges a few times. I said nectarines a few times. And the reason why I have multiple of those is because I needed more variety. When you have more variety, you can actually choose. So I have some fruit trees that bloom earlier, and when those are finished, I have the late bloomers bloom next, and then I have a whole nother set of variety of fruit. It is definitely something you should consider. You can plant them along your back fence. You can keep them small as a hedge. You can keep them as a little tiny fence. There's many different things. They're so forgiving. You're not going to kill your fruit tree if you're cutting them down. Don't worry. They will grow. Now, berries are so expensive to buy in the store. I love berries. My kids love berries. So I have found a way to make it so I can grow berries in my garden and not have to pay for it and not have to the pesticides, because I do everything organic. So this is my blackberry hedge. This is the first berry I put into my yard. I put this in my yard about 15 years ago, and I love it. This thing is beautiful, but I will say this does not get the type of light requirement that berries usually get. But look how loaded it is. We are still getting fruit. I would rather get some fruit than no fruit. So tucking blackberries into the garden wherever I can makes it so I can get the stuff that I need for my family. Blackberries love full sun, especially in our valley. They do quite well with morning sun and afternoon shade, but all day shade, no, they don't do well. This pretty much gets all day shade. Maybe it gets 3 hours of sun max in the spot. This is on the west side of my yard, but it also has the chicken coop right in front of it. So any type of sun that comes in, it is completely blocked off and it's still producing. So like I said, I would rather get some than none. This is my boysenberry hedge. Boysenberries are my favorite berry that there possibly could be, and I've wanted this so long. So this is just a side yard that I have them tucked in, and they do so well in this area. It gets a little bit more sun than the black areas, but not by much. And again, you can see I'm still getting berries. And this is my raspberry bush. Raspberries are so expensive in the store. And if you can grow your own raspberries, your family is going to have the organic raspberries that they deserve. So loaded. This does get mostly sun in this area. This corner over here is shaded by the pergola, so it gets less sun. And as you can see, these berries are doing quite well. Now here's the thing about berries. If you're going to plant berries in your yard, be aware that they do spread. If you plant them in a condition that they're going to love, like full sun, more than likely you're going to be spending a lot of time in the spring digging up different shoots that are going to be popping up all over the ground. My blackberry bush would do that if it were planted in full sun, but because it's planted in mostly shade, it's sending all of its energy to the existing plant that it's not setting up a lot of runners. So that's a very beneficial thing for me. Same with my boysenberry bush. It doesn't spread anywhere because it's just there's not enough sun to keep it happy. It's enough sun to produce, but not enough to make it so it's vigorous. My raspberry patch is actually quite new. I planted this, when did I plant it? Either last year or the year before. And so far I haven't had an issue yet with it spreading, even though it's been in the sun. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to, and if it does, what I will do is I will take a shovel and I'm going to dig it straight down around the new existing roots, dig it right up, and then I can either plant it or dispose of it. But keeping it in check is what's going to keep you happy, because once it overtakes, it is so difficult to get rid of. Blueberries are another one of those fruit that are so expensive to buy in a store, and they're actually listed as one of the most unhealthiest things to eat from a store. So buying a plant instead is much better for me and for my family. I have 10 blueberry bushes in my yard. And as you can see, they are all loaded up. They look so healthy, so happy, and they're doing so well. So if you're wanting to have blueberries in your yard and you just don't know where to put them, think about if you have bushes. Do you have bushes in your yard? Well, blueberries are a bush. 8 of my blueberry bushes are planted in the ground. 2 of them are in pots just because I wanted height, and that's the only reason. They are all doing so well. My blueberry bushes that are by the vegetable garden have been in the ground for 4 years, and they are performing as good as they always have. I fertilized my blueberry bushes with a spoma berry tone or a spoma holly tone. Those are the 2 I use. I also use acidic fertilizer in their soil. I do that a couple of times during the growing season, and that just keeps them healthy and happy. And that's it. And they look beautiful, and they provide so much fruit for my family. Tucking them into your flower beds will not only look gorgeous, but then you're going to be rewarded with the fruit. These are called baby Cakes Raspberries. I have had these planted for, this is the 2nd year, and look at, I'm getting fruit. I'm very excited about this plant. I do have it in a pot right here. It doesn't get very large, so it was super easy to just tuck it into this space right here at the walkway into the vegetable garden, and it just adds a little bit of beautiful color, and I will be getting fruit from it. I have it on both sides of the arbor. Strawberries are another thing that you should plant in your garden. I have strawberries everywhere. I have probably over 100 strawberry plants, and they are doing so well, and they look so beautiful and healthy. Another way you can save on space is go vertical. That is what I've done with these. These are Greenstalks that I have, and I have planted strawberries in them, and they're growing up. As you can see, I have them next to the pergola. It doesn't take much space, and yet now I have more strawberries in this area. I fertilize these once a month because they are in pots. And look how beautiful they are. Artichokes are another plant that is so expensive to buy at the store, but they're so delicious. If my family could eat artichokes every single day, they absolutely would. So what have I done? I have planted them among the flowers. This is just my cottage flower bed over here, and I've got a big old artichoke right here. I planted this about 4 years ago, and it is still growing strong and beautiful. Once it's done blooming, it dies back and a new shoot will come up for next year. I have artichokes everywhere in my garden. If you don't have space in a vegetable garden, or you don't have space for a vegetable garden at all, where can you put your produce? Put them in your flower beds. It is a great way to tuck them in to make them look beautiful and give you the food that you desire. Here in this flower bed, I have a ton of produce in here. I have different lettuces, I have spinach, I have artichokes, I have onions. And look at this, when I'm done with the plant, like this lettuce for example, I'm done with the plant, but I'm not cutting this off. What I am doing is I am letting it go to seed so that next year I don't have to buy seed packets, and this whole area will reseed itself again with more lettuce and more spinach. And that is how I've done it for years. Another fruit I needed in my yard was grapes. My family loves grapes. So adding this fence right here to this area to build a structure for the grapevines is what I absolutely needed. As you can see, I have the grapes growing on one single stem, and then it splits the middle. One branch goes to the left, one branch goes to the right, and I have tons of fruit. These are red grapes over here, and my family will be devouring every single one of them. Grapes don't really need to be fertilized. You can fertilize them once in the spring, but leaving them alone is really what they absolutely love. They do so well in our valley that you don't need to worry about them so much. The leaves look so healthy and everything is just absolutely beautiful. I also planted more grapes because one of my sons wanted green grapes. So the vines on the chicken coop is actually green grapes. Do I have, oh, I do have clusters up here. Look how beautiful. Do you see all those clusters up there? Herbs. Herbs are another thing you can tuck into your garden and you'll be able to eat. This is my rosemary hedge. Obviously, I don't keep them trimmed up. I just want them to be a little bit wild. And I come out here and I prune off of them when I'm ready to use them for cooking. Same with the oregano is also in the garden. Same with the thyme. The thyme is growing here so beautiful and is so happy in this spot. It is intermixing with the lemon coral sedum. And I love this because I was able to tuck this plant into this area and it's growing so beautiful. Same with the oregano. The oregano is growing so well in the flower bed, just intermixing with all the other beauty in here. Bay leaves are another thing you can plant into your garden. As you can see, I have my bay leaves put in pots, shaped as a topiary, so it just looks like a beautiful structure, but it's actually edible. We can put these in our stews and our soups, our marinara sauce, and they'll make your food taste so good. So now whenever I need some out of the garden, I just walk out here and pick it. Mint is another thing you may want in your garden. So make sure you put it in a pot away from where seeds can go. If you get any blooms, cut them off because you don't want it spreading in your garden. But you can use this in teas, you can use this in cakes, you can use this in all sorts of things, and it will be absolutely beautiful. And it smells so good. So being able to come outside anytime I need something, whether it's an onion or garlic or bay leaf, I need these things to nourish my family, and that is my top priority. So finding different ways to tuck in more edibles is always something I'm constantly looking for, and I absolutely love doing it. This is how you make an edible garden. Start with one thing. Seeds work just fine, and sprinkle it into your garden, and you're going to notice that you're able to come outside and harvest things too. I hope this inspired you to actually go into your garden and find different ways to tuck in your fruits and vegetables, and you can do it. I know you can.